We are getting you hooked from a distance today. Welcome inside another edition of the Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns. Alongside Mack Brown and Vince Young, I'm Bob Ballou. You can always get this podcast anywhere you get your podcast, on Apple, Spotify, or watch us on YouTube. You can also rate and review us anywhere on social media at the Stampede UT. If you are on YouTube, you can see this right now, but Mack and Vince are in Los Angeles getting ready for a really special event tonight. Guys, how are you? Welcome in.
I appreciate it. Yeah, we're on the West Coast. Finna go enjoy some Rose Bowl life.
Yeah, we're celebrating the 20th anniversary again, and the Rose Bowl asked Vince and I to come out. We'll have Dan Fouts tonight. We'll be at the Rose Bowl Quarterback Club at the Rose Bowl. They were going to have the function in the end zone where Vince scored, and I said it could be either end zone because he scored all over the place, and he owns all that land, so that's just his. But I think we're actually having it in the locker room, and Keith Jackson's entire family, his 94-year-old wife's going to be there, so it'll be a fun celebration for memories for 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's hard to believe it's been 20 years. A week ago, Sunday, January 4th, was the date of the game, January 4th, 2006, when Texas beat USC 41-38 in the national championship game. So we'll talk a little bit about what you guys expect from this event and what's going on with the Rose Bowl. But before we do, we have a couple Longhorns we want to talk about. And I know Mack and Vince, you guys are really close with Jordan Shipley, and we'll talk a little bit about Ship and what's going on with him. But Coach Aaron Benson, one of your former players from 2010 on, died earlier this week. I know, all of these are always tough especially when it's such a young man like Aaron was. I saw Quandre Diggs tweeted out he was one of the funniest teammates he ever had. I just wanted to get your thoughts as we open up the show on Aaron.
Bob, he's a great young man, and we lost him way too soon. And what you learn is you just want the thoughts and prayers to be with the family and his friends, because we lost a player last year to cancer at North Carolina. His name was Tylee Kraft. He had lung cancer. It was 24 years old, 23 years old, 21 when he got it. He fought it for 2 years, and we watched him go through chemo and radiation. He'd come out to practice and throw up and just be sick, but want to be around his teammates. And these are 40-year decisions. They're not 4. This is family. This is for a lifetime. And then we saw him go to a cane. We saw him go to a wheelchair to hospice. And we actually, the players watched him die during the season. And they all had to say goodbye to a friend. And I remember at the funeral, and it just makes me think of this and how awful it is to lose Aaron. The minister said, we don't have control of how much time we have. So we better put life into the amount of time we have. And the second thing he said is, if you get up every morning and you're healthy and your family's healthy, you need to be grateful for that. And same when you go to bed, because you have no problems if everybody in your family's healthy. Because if they say your wife's got 3 months to live, you drop all your problems. So we all have to be grateful for what we've got. We have to appreciate our friends. And then we've got to in this world, we've got to reach out to people like Aaron's family and help them. Just help them get through this horrible time in their lives. And I pray for my family every day to be healthy, and I'm grateful when they are. I pray for my best friends to be healthy, and I pray for our players. And when you have someone like Jordan get hurt, you lose someone like Tylee Kraft 2 years ago, you lose someone like Aaron this week. It hurts you. It just takes part of your life away. And we have to celebrate the good, and we have to celebrate the smile that Aaron had, and make sure that we uplift the family about how wonderful he was, instead of how awful this all is.
Yeah, and I know our thoughts and prayers are certainly with Aaron's family right now, just as our thoughts and prayers are with Jordan Shipley as he goes through what he's going through. He had an accident on his ranch and suffered third-degree burns. He's been in the hospital since then. His family's been providing updates, and the majority of those updates have been very positive. For both of you guys, when someone that you know and experienced, football with, but life with as well, goes through something like this, I know it's really difficult, but it's also maybe just as cool to see how much support they are receiving in a time like this because of the Longhorn football family.
Vince?
Yeah, two things for me is everybody has to understand this is a tough situation and there's no book to this type of situation. So understanding, like, give the family some time to, you know, um, deal with the situation that's going on. And the second thing for me is um, this is why we play this game, right? Is the love and the respect for your teammates that you have. And when a situation like this occurs, um, it's a great thing that we all come together and do anything we can for the family, and for us to be there for Aaron and also be there for Shipley. But it also is, the conversation that we all been talking about with this portal and all this stuff going on. They don't have an opportunity to build relationships with each other like this. And this is why I love my Longhorns to this day. It brings us together for one, and we already together. But to see the text messages, to see Colt McCoy getting the information and relaying it back to everybody so we can all have it and know how to go about how to respect the family's wishes right now, but also keeping the guys in prayer and making sure that we're doing what we're supposed to do as a team to do anything for Shipley and Aaron's family to support them, for the upcoming days that they will need and definitely would love to see each and last one of us. So it is all about that family, how we built that chemistry as brothers. That it does hurt, but in the same time, we just want to make sure we be there for he for their family and for Shipley can feel that love from the guys that he know that love him a lot. So it's a tough situation. So I think everybody should give them their family some time because it is a tough situation. There's not a book to it, but us as teammates and coaches and everyone else that knows Shipley and Aaron and family, we just do our part behind the scenes of making sure that the family and everybody get everything they need and make sure that you're taking care of yourself and things like that. So that's what I love about team and football. So
And
And
Coach,
Bob,
I know you've spoken with the family,
yes,
and there's some, Sonny wanted to get out that there's some fake pictures out on the internet and things like that to avoid that kind of stuff. But I know you've had a chance to speak to the family too, and kind of offer your thoughts and prayers with what Jordan's going through as well.
yes, we love the family. I mean, Bob's been involved with Texas football and high school football coach, and Colt and Jordan were two of the best in the country. Jackson came in and did a tremendous job. And anybody who knows Jordan knows that he's tough as nails. I mean, he got hurt. He could have quit. Probably should have quit. Took a year and a half or two to even play, and just kept getting hurt, and ended up playing in the NFL because that's the heart that he has. But also, those that don't know him, he's got such strong faith. He is a believer, and if anybody can whip a tough situation like this, it would be Jordan Shipley. To me, I don't know that I could, but he is tough as nails, and he's anytime you have an accident like this, you've got some trying times ahead. You got a tough road to go through, but he's trending in a positive direction. Um, and we need to make sure that this family is a wonderful family, and they want to answer every text and every call. They can't. It's just too much, and it bothers them. So what we need to do is continue to pray because prayers are working, and we need to make sure that you can post things that are positive about Jordan and the family, but don't expect them to call you back or text you back. They just can't, and it's overwhelming. So Vince said it best. We just need to be in support and pray. And they're a very religious family, and they said prayers are working. So keep them coming, 100%.
yeah,
If
and
you
to add to that, with Jordan Shipley, this is a great story. Is I was so mad that I never got a chance to play with him because every time we have him at practice and we go through camp and I throw him a bomb and he catches it, and that's when coach let the fans come out and everybody y'all, oh my God, we gotta Vince get to throw to this guy, and then he pulls his hamstring. We like
Tore his hamstring.
tore his
Just
hamstring.
running.
And he's just running, and it upset me because I'm thinking I'm excited. I get to throw the ball to this fast kid, and then something happened. But in the same time, like Coach just said, these type of stories is what we have to post. The beautiful part about this guy and who he is, but also at the same time, like that guy right there is a fighter, and he went through that situation. He got his butt on the field, and he did everything he's supposed to, and then he got to the pros. So these are stories that we appreciate about him, that we know that he's fighting right now to get back to his family as well as the team, and going back to doing who he is. So that's the type of positive stories need to be leaked out there.
Yeah.
And
So pray for him, post positive things, but let's let the family have some privacy.
Exactly.
And he was a part of that 2004 team, the 2005 team, and he even talked about how that 2005 experience is one of his favorites, even though he didn't get to play, and he was itching to play, obviously. But he kind of, one of the things he talked about is, as you talk about a man of faith, he wondered why. Why is this happening? Why am I not on the field? Why can I not, get to this? And then he said, you see the end result of, I got 4 years with Colt. And so, sometimes in the negative, there comes something really positive. And all of us are praying for Jordan. I know the whole Longhorn family has a support for him and everything that he's going through. He was there in 2005. You guys were obviously there in 2005 for what happened in that game against USC. And as you guys celebrate in Los Angeles this week, it was had to be pretty cool for you to see what happened in Pittsburgh on Monday night as the Texans beat the Steelers 30-6. Frank Okam and Rod Wright, both a part of that 2005 national championship game, both on the staff with the Texans. I know that had to excite both of you guys too.
Vince said today at defensive lineman, coaching defensive lineman, I don't know who the defensive linemen for the Texans are, but they're not better than Frank and Rod in the Rose Bowl, because those two guys played great. They both had NFL careers. They're better people than they are players. And all Longhorns are so proud of those two. And I'm pulling for them.
Yeah.
That's what Vince and I do. We pull for our guys. We pull for our players. So when you start looking at it, you start pulling for this one or that one. Aaron Rodgers has never been a big fan of mine after the Cal Michigan situation where we beat Cal out to come in. So last night it was fun to watch Rod and Okam on that sideline, because they're great people.
Yeah, and man Rod are family members now, because his wife before was my wife's cousin. And to see his son Elijah is up next as a D lineman, already getting letters and doing a lot of great things, it's special to me and my family. And my son is really close with Elijah, and as well as Frank Okam, his kids and his wife. They're all sweethearts. So, and as well as D'Amico, really close with D'Amico Ryans. I mean, we came into the NFL together, and see all the stuff that he's been through to get where he's at, and to be the winningest coach right now at that organization. So I'm happy for the Houstonians, right? Because I'm from Houston. But let's wait a minute. Let's not go too far. So, and then Aaron Rodgers, one of the things about that story is, the first time I was at Green Bay, we in our quarterback meeting room getting prepared to play, and this guy wants to bring up this game of us going to the Michigan game. And I'm looking at him like, dude, you're the MVP, just won a Super Bowl. Why are we talking about anything about college right now? But again, a great guy, Aaron Rodgers, and his career. If he ends it right now, he had an outstanding career, and very proud of him as well. So this is cool to see how that, especially our Longhorns out there doing great things. This is great.
Pretty amazing that he's still played at the age of 44.
Exactly.
But that played good.
And played good.
Yeah, he did. He did. He had a good season. All right, so we'll get into more NFL stuff later. A lot of Longhorns in the playoffs. Wait till you hear the list of guys that are in the playoffs. We'll get into that a little later in the show. But for now, we want to get into the transfer portal, what's going on at Texas. Obviously, the big additions of Cam Coleman and Hollywood Smothers this week, among others, and still more to come as we're taping this. The transfer portal ends on Friday, so there's still time for Texas to pick up a couple more commits, which I would expect them to do. More fireworks in the chamber for Steve Sarkisian. We'll also talk about the national championship game Monday night as Indiana gets set to take on Miami. But let's get into the portal a little bit, guys. What maybe excites you the most? This is such a weird. It's almost like recruiting. Mack, maybe you can speak to this more than anybody. It's almost like recruiting where everybody thinks, oh, you're not getting anybody, and you're like, we're fine. Like we know what we're doing. You guys need to calm down a little bit. And that's kind of what's happened in the transfer portal, where everybody was like, Texas is whiffing on everybody. There's a big panic. Oh, look, here's Cam Coleman, here's Hollywood Smothers. Everything's fine now. What are your thoughts on the way this has kind of played out for Texas?
Would you think that Texas fans could panic? I mean, what a shock.
Never.
We're about to get those questions in a minute. Just walking through the airport or something right
There's no question. Well, number one, let's look at Texas has signed 23 new high school players. We forget that. And they're the number 3 class in the country. Now, the Colin Simmons comes in and plays in his freshman year and is a dominant player in his second year. So we can't forget those guys when we start looking at what happened. I mean, this year you got guys like Grayson Littleton. Who would have thought this time last year he was going to be a factor? He starts. And, I mean, he's covering the best receiver in the country in the opening ball game. So you start looking at Bell, you start looking at Bishop, you start looking at Wesley. Tyler Atkinson's one of the best linebackers in the country. We recruited him at North Carolina. Samari Matthews is one of the best corners in the country. We recruited him at North Carolina. He's from Charlotte. Derek Cooper, big running back. Who knows which one of those guys will be the impact. We talk about the portal, but we've forgotten the high school guys.
Yeah.
But they're real. And a team like Texas is a team that can still recruit high school guys. A lot of people are just going straight portal. With the portal, you're just not sure what you're getting. Why is he leaving?
Right.
Is he coming for money? Is he coming because he was mad at the coaches because he didn't get to play? Why didn't he get to play? Did he not have a good quarterback? Did they not give him the ball enough? I mean, there's always some question mark with portals because it's divorce. I mean, you're mad, you're leaving your family, and you're going to find something else, but you got to start over. And now we've got a system where you can start over and over and over and over. When at one point I transferred from Vanderbilt to Florida State, I was told you don't have another transfer. You got to make this work, man.
Right.
Not that way anymore. Not that way anymore. So I think, number one, Texas is in great shape with incoming freshmen, 23 in a number 3 class in the country. We'd be talking about that all over the place if we didn't have portal. And then you talk about, I've said, is there a Ricky Williams? Is there a Jamal Charles? Is there a Cedric Benson on the team? Because to me, if you can't look at that quarterback and say, wow, he's got it, man, then you're probably not very good. Arch has got it. And now we're going to rinse and repeat here with Heisman, number 1 draft pick. Poor Arch has got to go back through all that cycle again, but now he's earned it. Last year he didn't even play, just 2 games before he did. So then you start looking at our Smothers, the young guy from Arizona State, Derek coming in, Derek Cooper. Are those guys going to be Cedric Benson? Are they going to be Jamal Charles? Are we going to be sitting in the stands and every time they touch it, we think they got a chance to score? If not, you're not going to have a great running game. Because we've talked a lot about the offensive line. Unless you've got a great back, those offensive linemen aren't very good. A great back can make average offensive linemen look really good. And that's what's going to happen. Then you add Cam Coleman to Emmett Mosley, Ryan Wingo. What's Niblick going to do? Is he going to be a receiver? Is he going to touch it running back some? So there's a lot of pieces now that are in place moving forward that are going to be fun because the defense has got to replace stuff with a new coordinator, but the offense has just got to tweak. They've got to tweak. And then I saw Christian Clark leaving because they signed Smothers. I mean, that's the world now that these poor coaches are in with the agents. And the other thing that's out there that I've talked to so many coaches the last month, they're spending all their time talking to collectives and agents about what is Vince worth to me? What is his value? If his value was $750 last year and I'm going to cut him to $250, he's going to leave and he's going to be mad. But my job is to place the value. That's what college football's become on what Vince can do for us. And then if you pay so much for Vince, there's somebody else down here that's going to suffer. And Vince is going to tell people in that locker room what he's making. So it's a transactional business right now. But then you've got to have great communications and culture to make the transactional business come back to where you're back to a football team again. So as soon as that portal's over on the 16th, they've got to start building culture and team and leadership. And how does Coleman fit in that room? Vince knows now. I mean, Vince was one of the best leaders I've ever seen, maybe the best. And he pulled locker rooms together. Arch seems to be doing some of that same thing, but all of this now has to pull stuff together and quit worrying about where Hollywood Smothers. I recruited him. He's a really good player and a great young man. Went to Oklahoma. Then he goes to NC State. Then he goes to Alabama. Then he comes to Texas. It's just crazy what's happening right now with all this stuff as you go through. But I think, Vince, that's the thing that has to happen now. You get the pieces, and then you got to put them together. And one of the biggest things, they said Ryan Wingo was the lead recruiter on Cam Coleman. That has to work that way for it to work in the locker room.
Right.
Because if Wingo's mad because Cam's coming, then that doesn't work. But the more good players you got, the more people get the ball. Vince's team was so good, they beat people by an average of 37 points in that 2005 year, and they averaged 50 points a game. Everybody was happy. Everybody's happy. You want to play? Oh, put him in. Throw him a pass. Vince, make sure so-and-so gets the ball. And that's just what has to happen to make this thing work.
Vince, let me ask you that, because I think there's an interesting two-part question there. Number one, on Cam Coleman, I think for him, as much as it is about the money and he was going to get his money wherever he ended up going, I think he wanted a good fit. And I think Arch Manning and what this Texas offense, what Steve Sarkisian can do with this offense certainly provides that. What do you think of Cam coming in? And then a more general, what do you think about how this culture has to work now? I mean, Texas is essentially losing a recruiting class in the portal. I mean, there are 22, 23, 24 guys that have entered the transfer portal leaving this program. You're essentially losing that. What do you think has to happen for that culture to work over the next 9 months?
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable to see that many guys are leaving the University of Texas for one. This is just my opinion. I don't understand that because of the fact, to me, I feel like you're at the best place to play football, even if you didn't make the money that you didn't get or wanted, but you can still earn it and do some things to deserve it. So I wish the best for these guys who departed and made, decisions or whatever they made to do to make it better for them and their family. I wish them the best, and I'd already texted a lot of guys that I texted Livingston and told him, man, it was great to even talk to you on the sideline and things like that, and you're a great kid. I just wish to, all the find the best for you. But the main thing is, it's like, first of all, understand what the universities you're coming to. I don't know if y'all saw, I tweeted that the other day, like, the pride, the winning tradition of a Texas Longhorn. I tweeted it for hopefully these younger players to see it, to understand the history and tradition of where you coming to. Okay, so if you want something at the University of Texas, the only thing I can tell you is to go earn it. Go work your butt off and fight for it. Okay, you got these guys coming in. Okay, you got Coleman coming in. I have no idea about this kid, but I'm looking at his numbers. That's all fine and dandy, but that is gone. That happened. That's history. Now you've got to figure out, like what Coach just said, like what you're going to do when you get here on campus to get on the same page as this coach over here? Or you're going to be a guy that's, to me, what it looks like to me is an I guy. Okay, that's just my opinion. So are you going to come here ready to work with me as a quarterback? Whatever you can help teach the younger, some of the guys that's here, how can we bring this all together so we can go try to compete for a championship game? And I really feel really bad for Coach Starks and the rest of the coaching staff, because now you got to deal with so much different new characters now that you didn't know, or you want to put in a lot of your coaching and everything in, but you don't know if this kid gonna be here again. And it's kind of hard for a coaching staff to deal with that, and as well as a player to know that I don't even know if I can trust this guy right now. So what do we do? What do Arch do? And my main thing is what I was saying last night, Coach, is Arch got to be a guy like right now going at it of getting guys together, understanding the culture, all you new faces. Hey, y'all, let's have a team meeting. Let's get a team meeting in so we can sit here and talk for a couple of hours and talk to us about what's your thoughts about being here at Texas. How can we help you be successful here at the University of Texas, and let them understand this is what happens at team meetings. This is what we do after meetings. This is the ton of the places we go for dinner. It's going to have to be not just the coaching staff. The players got to really pour in their time as well to get everybody on the same page. So I really hope that that's what's going on, and I hope it happens a little bit early. And then I do wish they would change that portal to not early to rather than later, to give them time to do a lot of this stuff. So I just hope that happened. But it is kind of confusing for me as a player, and I gave you my best answer on it. So
Well, and Bob, connection is commitment, and that's what Vince just said.
yeah,
How do they connect?
exactly.
How do they make this work? Why are you here? You going to buy into this team, or you going to be about you?
Exactly.
You going to be about how many balls you catch, or you going to be about this team? And we're critical of Texas losing a completing recruiting class. Listen to this. Auburn lost 36 kids. Coaching change. Arkansas lost 35. Coaching change. Mississippi State lost 34. Not a coaching change. LSU lost 32. Coaching change. Florida lost 31. Coaching change. OU lost 26. Tennessee lost 25. Missouri lost 24. Texas lost 22. Kentucky lost only 22. Coaching change. South Carolina lost 21. Alabama lost 20. Vanderbilt lost 17. A&M lost 16. Georgia 12, and Ole Miss 10. I'm shocked that with a coaching change at Ole Miss,
right.
at this point, they've only lost 10. Now, they still got 3 days. So there may be some more leave, which we know, but I think it's just the time that we're in. And then we're talking about Ty Simpson leaves Alabama to go to the NFL, and now schools are trying to get him to stay out of the NIL by giving him so much NIL money, keeping him out of the NFL. So we're just at a different time. I mean, it's just I think we don't like it, but the coaches that adjust to it the best are the ones that are going to be the most successful. We've also had 93 head coaches fired in FCS in the last 3 years.
Wow.
93. We've also got 10,200 young people in the portal. Now, the sad thing is a lot of those young people got shoved. People are saying this many people just left. No, the coach that says we're going to pay you half of what we said we're going to pay you, we're going to give you half as many snaps, he goes to the portal. I didn't run him off. I gave him a chance to stay. Well, you discouraged him.
Sure.
Because it's right now, the part of the money is what your value is to the team you think. So if I'm a head coach and I'm making $5 million and the AD comes in and says, I'm going to cut you to 1.5, I figure I'm out of here. I don't know when, but it's not good. So that's the urgency right now that coaches have because they're getting fired. So when the NCAA took away the 25 initials that you used to be able to sign, you could only sign 25 players, new players per year. They took that away. Now you can sign as many as you want. So if you run 72 off, if you don't think you got a good team, you're a new coach coming in, you can get 72 new ones. That's just it. Period. It's not good for the players. So the guaranteed scholarships, 4 years, 5 years, those are dead. They're gone. Coaches getting fired after 1 year, 2 years, 2.5 years, coaches got to win immediately. So that's why you're seeing coaches and collectives come up with big-time money for big-time players because there is no patience left with head coaches, with athletic directors, with boosters, with media, and with players. There's no patience.
And there's a lot of pressure on Steve Sarkisian to win this year because it's, you know, Arch Manning and everything that's gone into this team to get this team to this point, and then Colin Simmons and, you know, most likely both of those guys that will most likely be their final year at Texas. We'll see. But there's a lot of pressure on Sark to win this year, and that's why you're seeing such a major reconstruction of this program. I'll say this. Nobody's done it better than Curt Cignetti this year. I remember at one point Sark saying, I don't know if we'll ever have an undefeated national champion again. And I don't know that many people disagreed with him when he said that just because of the system we're in. And here's Indiana 15-0 with a chance to beat Miami. I know we're going to get into that game, but in terms of the structure of what he's done, he's gotten a lot of experience in his program. How impressed are you with what Curt Cignetti's been able to do in the transfer portal to make Indiana what it is right now?
Well, I feel like he's a straightforward guy. I mean, when you got guys like that, you straightforward. You know what you want, and you go get those players. When he just came up with a system that works, you know. And the good part about it is, that he went to get kids that's hungry, that they're fighting, they've been denied. You know, that all that stuff plays a major factor when you go get them, and you was honest with them, with the parents. You told them the truth, And now you got some kids that want to play for you. So you're going to win. So, I feel like Coach Stark does that as well. He's just dealing with a little bit more different things that's on his plate. But when you got a system that works and you're straightforward and you tell the truth to that player and that parent, it makes you want to play even harder for that coach. And for them, you can see it, the passion. You can see the smartness of these guys. You see the physical, they do everything what they're supposed to do as a team. And you don't see anybody you have a leader, a quarterback right now today on your team. He doesn't talk about himself at all. He talk about everybody around him and the excitement for the fans and everything else. That's a humble, very humble young man. And that's a kid that went through a lot to get where he's at. And he's not going to discourage anybody and not going to give it up and do anything about it. He's going to make sure he's going to be a winner. And I love that about that kid, the way he speaks and he gives his family everything he does. So it's just, to me, it's the growing pains a lot those players went through to get where they at and to feel comfortable with a coach that care about you more than just a player. And that's why you see these guys are continuing to be successful each week, that a lot of people probably, counted them out a whole lot of times, but they continue to keep winning and proving that you can't break this chemistry and what we have going on over here.
There certainly weren't a lot of guys on that Indiana team that people looked at as superstars going into this year. So
exactly.
What they've been able to do is pretty special.
Well, and Bob, I looked at it. Kirk Cignetti's dad was a really good coach. So he was raised right. Then he coached at really small programs. So he had to do everything. He had to evaluate properly. He had to cut the grass. I mean, he was the guy to do everything.
Right.
And Indiana isn't full of high school prospects. It's not a big state. It's not a great, fertile place for high school players. So Ole Miss has 66.3% of their team are transfers. Indiana's got 65.2% of their team that are transfers. Texas is only 17%. So the Blue Bloods still have a chance to get the high school players.
Yeah.
And then the Indianas and the Ole Misses, the Vanderbilts can't. So they've got to go portal. So you've got to figure out who you are and what you're going to have to do to make it. And then we used to take all the 5-stars and 4-stars, and Vince would remember this. In the first meeting we had with the players, we'd throw them all in a big barrel in the middle of the room and burn them. We'd drop the stars and say, okay, you have no stars now. Because really, when they're projecting 5 stars, they're looking at a 17-year-old kid that's playing against high school players. So how do you project how he's going to be in 4 years? That's the hardest thing about recruiting. And you need to be popular in recruiting with your fan base, but you need to get good players. So then you look at the other part of Indiana, because I tried to study this the other day. His team averages 23-year-old. That's the average age of the guys on his team. There's only 8 4 and 5 year starters that have been around so long. 45 of the players on his team have 4+ years of experience. No player on offense is younger than 21 years old. And he has a number of 6-year guys. They were compared to the same age of the Green Bay Packers. So what he's done is he's taken older guys that are committed. He's got an unbelievable culture right now. They built confidence, and they play complementary football, which sounds like a coach's term, but they're going to run the ball. Mm-hmm. They're going to stop the run. They're number 2 in the country in turnover ratio. They're really sound in the kicking game. They rush for over 206 yards a game. And the quarterback, who is a transfer, both quarterbacks in this game next week are transfers. And you look at what Mendoza's done, except for me on Underdog. He's done great. But I was thinking about this. Justin Wilcox, the head coach at Cal. I tried to hire Justin's defensive coordinator when he was at Tennessee. Mendoza does not get recruited. He ends up committing to he's a 2-star. He ends up committing to Yale. And then Justin Wilcox finds him and brings him to Cal. If we did not have the current system where you could buy players off somebody's team, Justin Wilcox got fired this year. If Mendoza's on that team, he's not getting fired. he may be playing for the national championship at Cal. So the nature of college football, how it's changed, has changed coaching so much. So was it Justin Wilcox's fault that he didn't have enough money to keep Mendoza, or was it Cal's fault? Should they have been able to jump up? And that's kind of where we are. But you've still got to coach them right. You still got to have the team chemistry. And he has no distractions.
No
I mean,
distractions.
that's what they've done. And this will be a really interesting game again on Saturday. Both of those games came out like I thought they would last week. This one's going to be really interesting. You can go both ways on this. And when you say, no, you can't pick against Indiana. Oh, Miami has, how about this? 7 top 20 teams. They beat number 6 Notre Dame. They beat number 18 USF. They beat number 18 FSU. They beat number 22 Pitt. But lately, they beat number 7 A&M. They've beaten number 2 Ohio State and number 6 Ole Miss. So before you pick Indiana at the end of this show, be careful. Big guy, be careful.
No, I'm just going about what the question was. Going off the question. I like the system you got.
Yeah.
Well, and we've talked so much about how the calendar needs to change and how we'll get into more of this. There are more big picture portal topics that we want to discuss. We also are going to get into our horns in the NFL and our Texas Protax Pros segment. That's all coming up next. Give you guys a breather, and we'll get right back into this. This is the Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns. We're back after this. Texas has some of the highest property taxes in the country, and if you're a property owner like we are, you know it hits harder than a blindside sack. That's why every winning season starts with the right playbook. When it comes to lowering your property taxes, Texas Protax has been calling winning plays for 38 seasons. They're the #1 defense against soaring tax bills, the kind of defense that stuffs rising values at the line and sends them back to the locker room.
Do your homework before you just let any firm suit up for you. I've looked at the stats, and Texas Protax doesn't just win, they dominate.
We're talking big gains, deep passes, and the kind of tax-saving drives that make your wallet do a victory dance. While the other firms are warming the bench, Texas Protax is driving the field, breaking tackles, and putting up game-changing Texas-sized tax savings.
Stampede listeners, your minimum fee is waived. No risks, no flags, no fumbles.
Visit TexasProtax.com, sign up and enter code STAMPEDE to join the winning team, and finally put your property taxes on the bench. College football not feeling as juicy as it once did? Let me put you onto something that'll shake up your Saturday and every other day of the week. Because now that Wendy's has crispy chicken tendies and a powerhouse lineup of new sauces, it's time you transferred to the hottest team in the league.
That's right. Team Tendies. Wendy's Tendies. They're making their undeniable rookie season one for the books. Enjoy first-string flavor from some 5-star recruits. Rep your own new favorite team everywhere you go, but make sure to cheer with your mouth closed.
Take it to the end zone of savory sauces like honey barbecue, creamy ranch, and the new Wendy's signature sauce to experience a total taste bud blitz of flavor. It's time to join a team that won't upset you with an upset. Taste the phenom that's gracing the gridiron with its juicy, crispy, and tendery tendencies.
Don't fumble the bag. Commit to Team Tendies and call the most delicious plays in the playbook. All right, huddle up. Tendies on 3. Tendies on 3. 1, 2, 3. Tendies. Let's do this.
Wendy's Chicken Tendies, now at participating U.S. Wendy's. All right, welcome back to the Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns. We appreciate you joining us. It's now time for our newest segment, Texas Protax Pros. When it comes to lowering your property taxes, Texas Protax has been calling winning plays for 38 seasons. And as a Stampede listener, when you sign up for Texas Protax, your minimum fee will be waived. Just visit TexasProtax.com, sign up and enter code STAMPEDE to join the winning team and put property taxes on the bench. All right, VY, how about the Longhorns in the NFL? 33 Longhorns in the NFL playoffs, 29 players, 4
Can
coaches.
you say that again so the world can know what you just said?
33 Texas Longhorns in the NFL playoffs. Unbelievable. 29 players, 4 coaches. And maybe the coolest moment, even in a loss, was Matthew Golden, who kind of was on and off throughout his rookie season in Green Bay, but really made a strong impression in his final game. 5 catches for 84 yards and a touchdown, and that touchdown was nearly the game-winning touchdown. A great play by Matthew to finally get in the end zone this year. What were some of your impressions on Matthew?
Well, I know when you look at Matthew, what he did at U of H, and then we got opportunity to bring him over to Texas because I was like, wow, we can't stop these kids when we played them at U of H, and then what happened with Coach getting fired, and he was wanted to leave, and we was up in the front runner that he wanted to play at Texas, so to see that and knowing that he had a rough year because of the injuries or whatever, and for him to be back right on time to make an NFL debut and almost win the game with an outstanding play, a bubble route. I mean, how many times did he run that at Texas? And we see him catch after the run, make a play, make a couple guys miss, and make a good play. So I was happy for him to see that because I know how it is when you're in that black hole and you can't play and you're trying to rehab to get yourself back on the football field, and then you get opportunity to be back right on time, and then make some big plays for the Green Bay Packers. I know he was excited about it, so I was happy to see that for Golden,
That was a
especially
really
that
cool one.
all the hard work he put in to get to that point. So that's awesome
Yeah.
to see that.
Yeah, no doubt. I know they lost to the Bears, who, by the way, Roshan Johnson will not play in the rest of the postseason, but he is still on the roster. But
Yeah.
Devin Duvernay still returning kicks for them. So
Yeah.
a couple Texas guys move on. They'll get to face the Rams and
And
Puna Ford and Jay Witt.
Great story for them as well too. And we got a guy over there as a coach.
Richard Hightower.
Richard Hightower is over there, special team. He was with Shanahan, and he's been around the league for a while. He was with us at Texas, and he was the man on special teams here at Texas. So I'm happy for him, and I'm also happy for Caleb Williams. His story has been unbelievable because he was running for his life for a long time. And they got some receivers around him. They got a better offensive line around him, and now he has changed that whole entire organization, which been dealing with not having a quarterback for a long time. And for him to do the things that he's doing, I'm happy for Caleb, man. And he's looking very impressive out there on that football field.
If you're Chicago, you've got to feel pretty good about not just this year, but the future and what that entails. They get a home game against the Rams this coming week. The defending Super Bowl champions get a home game to open the playoffs in the wild card round. Here are the Eagles. Nobody really goes into Philly and wins a playoff game except for Texas X Kyle Shanahan. And by the way, Alfred Collins playing well in that defensive line as well. But how happy are you for Kyle and what he's able to do?
I'm happy for him. Kyle's been dealing with the outsiders, so they want to get him fired so bad over there. And every year he proves himself in the playoffs with what you just saw. He's over there playing with nothing right now. So is this a show of his the great coaching staff that he has, and then just him just determined to get the job done. So I'm happy for him because he deserves it. Kyle deserves it. I know he wants a Super Bowl so bad, and he's been in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl and came a little bit short, but now he still have an opportunity to do it going against another great team in next week with Seattle. So I'm looking forward to what he's finna do with the situation he has.
You brought it up. The two number one seeds, the only two teams that didn't play last week, the Seattle Seahawks and the Denver Broncos, they house a ton of Longhorns. Seattle, of course, with Byron Murphy and what he's been able to do this year. And Michael Dixon's been a key at punter there. Quandre Diggs, by the way, is on that practice squad right now for Seattle. So he's still out there. And then how about this for the Broncos? Jahdae Barron, obviously the rookie from here in Austin. And then Sam Ehlinger, Lil Jordan Humphrey, Brandon Jones, PJ Locke, and Malcolm Roach. It's like Sean Payton loves burnt orange, I guess. But these guys are getting ready to get a shot in the playoffs, and it's a pretty special time for all of them too.
And all those guys, them names you just said, all those guys, a lot of people was upset with them when they entered the draft, and they was like, it's too early. It's too early. You guys should stay. You should stay, which I'm a little biased to because, as a Longhorn fan, I want you to stay too. But
hey, Vince, we wanted you to stay too, just so you know.
But I'm happy for those guys. And like you said, man, just to see a lot of those Longhorns on both sides of the ball, especially in Denver, it's a special place. To see Sam doing his thing, still holding on tight and doing the things that he needs to do to be so supportive of Bo Nixon. So it's beautiful to see, man. I'm looking forward to it. And the Denver Broncos look really well with that defensive line they have. So it's going to be fun watching them, but it's also going to be fun just watching the players, the guys that I got a great relationship with, friendship with, to go out there and compete for something that they missed out as a championship in college, but they got an opportunity to take it all the way and finish that with a Super Bowl, and which is really special for those guys.
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Chargers kicker, Dicker the kicker, had the only points for Los Angeles in that game against the Patriots. And Brendan Schooler nearly had a blocked punt. He continues to be an absolute threat on special teams for them. All right, VY, one quick question. What game are you most looking forward to in this divisional round this week?
I'm going to go with the Bills and Broncos. I really want to see how the Broncos play against a team that's already been playing. And as we've been seeing in college, when you have a bye week, you don't look too good. So I really want to see that game, how the guys respond to a bye week and then getting back into rhythm and kind of finishing what you started. And then I got to go with the Rams and Bears. I like the Rams, but I really like those Bears right now.
I think everybody, they're kind of like sweeping the nation right now. I think everybody's kind of getting on board with Chicago, and it is going to be cold. I think it maybe feels like -10, somewhere around there
That
in
wind
Chicago.
coming off that water. Ooh, I remember playing down there once, and when you play in the NFL, you always look at your schedule and see where is the cold games at. And if you got Chicago and New England, you kind of rubbing your head like, ooh, what I'm finna wear for this game.
Oh, that's good stuff. All right, VY, we always appreciate you talking a little NFL with us. As always, win big savings on your property taxes with Texas Protax. Just sign up and use code STAMPEDE. That's at texasprotax.com. And where else would we shift back at this point? I mean, we haven't talked enough about the portal. I think we should maybe get into the portal a little bit. It is interesting, and I know, Mack, you brought this up in the first segment. You know, all 4 quarterbacks in those semifinal games were all transfers. Dante Moore started at UCLA. Obviously, Trinidad Chambliss' story was incredible, and then Fernando Mendoza to go to Yale, and then on to Cal, and what Carson Beck was able to do at Georgia, and now at Miami. How important is it to recruit a great quarterback and develop him versus being a team that's just going to go to the portal every year and go try to find a quarterback and use that? I mean, it feels like at Texas situation, they're in a great position right now. They don't even need to think about a quarterback in the portal unless it's a backup, because you got Arch Manning, KJ Lacey, and Diabell. But how much of that do you think we'll continue to see?
Vince, I don't think we're going to see much because of patience, the lack of patience. Quarterbacks aren't going to sit.
Yeah.
And there's too much money out there, and everybody needs one. I looked up 2 or 3 years ago, and 7 of the quarterbacks that were starting in the ACC were transfers. So that's what's happening. If you're, if it's interesting, Lacey has stayed behind Arch, and then with Bell coming in, how does that happen? It's hard to have 2 quarterbacks anymore. It's hard to have a backup. That's kind of what caught us at North Carolina in the end. We were lucky that Sam Howell stayed healthy and Drake May stayed healthy, because we didn't have experience behind them, because it is hard to keep 2 quarterbacks. And I don't think that's going to change. When you bring in a great one, he better play or you're going to lose him. Now, it's easier with Arch because everybody knows Arch is going to play. But the other thing, and you never want to talk about getting hurt. Vince never got hurt. I thought he was hurt at Kansas State. We've talked about that with a sprained ankle. He should have been hurt.
It looked bad.
He didn't. I told Greg Davis, he's out. And then he comes limping down and says, I'm all right.
Let's go, coach. Let's win this game.
It just turned completely. But if Arch get hurt, you got to have somebody ready. And if it's a sprained ankle, you got to have somebody ready. And that changes your game, just like Colt when we were out here in the 2010 National Championship game. If Colt doesn't hurt his shoulder on the 5th play of the game, I still think we win. Throwing balls to Jordan Shipley because Alabama couldn't cover him. So you got to have 2. It's hard to have 2 anymore, but I don't see the day where great quarterbacks come and sit. I think we're through with that just because of the climate, Vince, that's out there.
Yeah. But is it better to develop in a program that is good and you know what that looks like, what's going to be around you, versus going to a program that maybe doesn't have an offensive line? You're going to play, but they don't have the talent and the offensive line to kind of showcase your skills. Vince, do you think is there something to be said for developing in a program knowing the program's a good program?
I mean, it is. But when you got but when you got people in your ear, when you got people all in your ear, it messes up that young man's thought process. And respect to Bell for sitting and Lacey and guys understanding if you come into this program, you actually come into a coach that has developed quarterbacks. That's what good that Coach Stark has going for him. And you know, when you at that position, you want to make sure you develop to be able to play on the next level. That's what I thought all this was about. But now guys want to play and they feel like they developing in high school and training with these quarterback coaches. My son right now is training with a guy, and he's not playing the position, but he has 3 or 4 quarterbacks there developing already at a young age to be a quarterback on the next level as the college as well as upstairs. So you want them guys to stay at that university that is developing quarterbacks, but like Coach just said, guys want to play. And I don't know if that's the recipe for you to be successful going to some place that you don't really have a good offensive line, a good team, but I do understand you want to play. So whatever route that I'm starting to see that guys are starting to take to get to that starting position at that big school is okay, I can say. But if you already at a school with a coach, I prefer just staying here, learning from the veteran quarterback that's in front of me, staying ready, because everybody's second string quarterback is the starting quarterback in my what I see. So staying ready and being ready, if like Coach has said, you don't want to see nobody get hurt, but you're a play or 2 plays away from not even from playing. So I prefer that you go in, get behind a veteran quarterback, learn from him, study, get ready for myself to play, and then when it's my time, you don't really need nothing but 2.5 years playing now, and then make that decision to go to pros, and then you can develop more in the pros. But I really feel like it's to me, it's not bad to stay behind a guy like Arch, learn some things, and wait till it's your time, and then when your time in, then go all the way in and show that you've been working behind the scenes, that it is your time to play. So,
But Bob, you like to have an older one and a young one.
yeah.
That's what Vince said. We had the Chris Sims, we had the Major Applewhites, and then we had Vince. We had Chance Mock. It was tougher for Chance and Vince because they're the same age. And Vince ends up winning the job. Chance could have transferred. He talked about it. He looked hard at it. To his credit, he stayed and helped us some. And it's best for him to have stayed. Jevin, Sneed, and Colt were the same age.
That's the one I was thinking of for sure.
Yeah, I thought coming out of spring practice, I thought Jevin would probably be the starting quarterback. And then Colt had such a great summer. I always asked the older players, and they said, "Nah, Coach Colt, you're a quarterback." He had a great summer as he looks at it. And then you had Colt and Garrett Gilbert. And then you had some David Ash and Garrett Gilbert. I mean, so that gives it a chance. Like Vince said, if you know you're going to play and you're the guy and you can grow and watch, that's one thing. But when you've got 2 the same age, somebody's leaving because they said, he's here as long as I'm here. If he's better than me now, if they think he's better than me now, and there's people in the ear that say you're the best player, they're just not playing you, then he's not going to stay. He's going to take off. Even to Vince's credit, he said that one awful day in his life, he thought about leaving till Candace hit him in the face and Steve McNair hit him in the face and said, "No, shut up, go back, keep your mouth shut, grow up." And look where he is today. So it's really important to know who you listen to.
Yeah.
Those people in your ear. Steve McNair was a good role model for Vince. He would talk to him. His wife, then girlfriend, was really good because she would settle him down and say, "No, when you get mad at me, Coach Davis." But you're going to be mad. You're going to be frustrated. There's going to be bad days. You're going to get hurt some. You're going to have a bad practice. You're going to have something happen bad in school. And if you've got that guy constantly saying, "You're better than the other player, you should be leaving," at some point, you're going to want to hear it because it makes you feel better. And excuses really give you short-term comfort and long-time misery.
Yeah.
Discipline gives you long-time success. Honesty, being direct. But short-term, it doesn't sound good. And Vince just made a great point with these third parties, the people in the ear, the uncle, the peewee coach. And the development part, Bob, Vince didn't have somebody to develop him when he was 8.
Yep.
These guys now, they're in 7-on-7s. They're traveling all over the
All
country.
over the
They've all
place.
got quarterback coaches. They are so much better developed when they get to college than Vince's age group, just because that wasn't happening then.
Yep.
And now they've all got teams.
Yep. They playing all summer.
They playing all summer, and they're being developed all summer. So
Yeah.
it makes a whole lot of difference.
And to your point, you know, Jevin Sneed transferred to Ole Miss and had a nice career there. And you know, Vince, I know you've mentored DJ Lagway. He's leaving Florida, coming back to Texas and going to Baylor. You've got to be very excited for him, for the opportunity to get a fresh start after a rough year at Florida.
Yeah, I'm excited for him. You know, my main thing is talking to him about, hey, just, you know, your dad and everybody, just tell him, you know, you got to show your mature level, right? You know, because you can't make another decision of leaving again. This is, to me, this is it for me. And this is my opinion. You have to show the people on the next level that you can go through adversity, a slump, or whatever it may be, but still fight out of it. You have to, especially at this position. And you know, to me, these other positions, yeah, you can transfer and do that at the running back and DB at these positions. But when you're at a quarterback position, you want to show an NFL organization that you can handle pressure, because it's going to happen. It's going to happen. So, and then if you're making this decision, then why are you making a decision? Oh, I'm going to a better team, like you just said, Bob. Or if I'm going to a coaching staff, that's going to develop me and make me a better quarterback. If that's in the conversation, then, you know, I'm going to sit down with Coach Brown, like, hey, Coach Brown, I'm not making this decision just because of money. I want to get closer to home with my family. I feel better closer to home. I feel better. It's a better developing quarterback staff for me. You got to communicate to the coach, and coach is going to tell you, hey, as long as it was what's best for you, he's going to help guide you whatever decision you're making. And then when you make this decision, you got to understand it's time for you to go get to work now, and show Baylor Nation that you're supposed to be here, and change the thought process of the coach that is bringing you in. Okay, I know this about your character a little bit. Let's show that coach that is all gone. I'm finna work my butt off to be a better quarterback, and whatever goes, I want to be successful not on just at this level, but on the next level. So he has a lot to work on. But that what I would tell Lagway, this is it for you. You can't make any more transfer. So it's time for you to go to work right now.
And Bob, Vince has said it a lot. The relationship with the head coach and the quarterback and the offensive coordinator and the quarterback is so key.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be bad days.
Very.
And if he's struggling, somebody going to tell him they're not calling the right plays. And if you don't trust him, then you're not going to be able to call the right plays. So those three people have to be so connected and trust each other so much, because everybody's in their ear saying Vince ain't going to get it done.
Yeah.
Saying Vince, Greg Davis has no clue, man. He's not bringing it. He won't let you throw enough. That's just it. And let's think about this game this weekend with Carson Beck. What would have happened if he stayed at Georgia? We just talked about Mendoza staying at Cal.
Right.
Would Georgia have won another national championship? He was involved with 2 while he was there. So you've got to make a decision when you're going to transfer, and you better be right as the coach. When you take that quarterback, you better be right, and as the player, when you decide to move, you better be right.
Yeah.
Because you're running out of chances.
You run out of chances.
Well, I know we talk a lot of football. I do want to fly around the 40. Let's fly around the 40 acres for just a minute here. I want to ask you guys a question about the Texas men's basketball team, because Sean Miller's in his first year. They're coming off a huge win at Alabama, but it came right after a tough loss at Tennessee, where he benched 3 of his main players for the final 16, 17 minutes of that game, and really sent a message to his team that, hey, I'm the coach. You guys need to listen to what I'm telling you. How long does it take to establish that? You know, they responded. I mean, it took 3 days, and they responded, and they got a big win on the road against number 13 Alabama. And maybe that's a nice little boost for this program as it tries to move forward under Sean Miller. But how long does that take to really understand what a coach wants? It's different in every sport, but the kind of the theme of it, I think, is the same.
Yeah, I mean, to say to that point is, okay, you got some guys transferred in, right? and you know about this player, his talent, but okay, you want to know about this character in a heated situation. And for coaches, for what is going on in the situation, when they went through that heated situation on the sideline, probably one of those kids said something they wasn't supposed to be saying. And he's like, I'm a new coach here. I have to put my foot down and let them understand, like, hey, I'm the coach here. And if we're dealing with all this and you're especially in that type of heated situation, and it's only five of us, basketball is not a lot of players for one. When they all not on the same page, you're going to lose. I tell my daughter, she plays basketball, and I'm like, well, if y'all not on the same page, it's not a lot of y'all like it's a bunch of football players. This is it's only 5 y'all on court. 2 of y'all mad, we lost already. So for this standpoint, like, you got these guys coming in and they played at Xavier, all these different places, and then they transfer here. We all trying to bring this chemistry together, this team together, and then we in this heated situation that we could have beat Tennessee, but we're arguing and fighting on the sideline. Now it's like, I got to figure out how to get everybody on the same page. I'm the head coach. So for him to do that and take initiative to say, hey, we can't have this for later on in the season, and for them to hear it and respect it, and for them to go out the next game against another tough team to be all on the same page, that's what it's all about as being a coach. I brought you here for us to win, but I also want you to be respectful and respect what I'm doing, what I'm teaching you. So for him to do that, that's respect to Coach Sean for doing that.
Basketball is more transactional right now than football because, like Vince said, you buy 5.
Yeah.
You buy 8. You buy 3 and then pay something for a few others. So you've got to have a connection with them. So when they don't play well, and I could tell I'm a Sean Miller fan.
Yeah.
And I was a Rodney Terry fan. I mean, I think they're both really good people, and we're lucky to have had them both. When they didn't play hard at Tennessee and didn't play well, I sat there and watched the game, and I thought, ooh,
Yeah.
bad look. So he knew it. He's experienced. His dad was a coach. He was a great player. He's been very successful in both the places he's been. So he called him out. Now, when you call them out, it's easier with a transactional team to lose them because if they say, heck with him, man, I ain't listening to him. He blaming us. Why don't he coach better? Or you go beat Alabama. And he was so emotional on that sideline because he knew if they'd got blown out at Alabama, he probably lost his team.
Yeah.
And he got them back. Now he's got to keep doing it. They've got to build off of the blow up moment. You called them out, and they responded. When you call them out and they don't respond, man, you got problems because there is no free agency.
No.
That's your team.
Yeah.
You can't change them. You got them. It's like that ugly baby. If that baby's ugly and it's yours, it's a beautiful baby. So this is my beautiful team, and that's just what we've got. But but I thought that Tennessee game, sometimes you need to get embarrassed to wake up. And I thought the way he responded after that and the way the kids responded to him, they woke up.
Yeah.
So now they've got to keep the edge. Why'd they lose the edge? How'd you get the edge? You got the edge because I yelled at you. Do I have to yell at you all the time? Because at some point you're going to quit listening.
Yeah.
So now it's the players' turn. It's their job to step up and have an edge because they got a hard schedule coming up here.
Oh yeah.
But and that starts Wednesday night against undefeated Vanderbilt, who's just had an amazing year. So that's where this one's going to start for Texas. How about on the women's side? Texas loses to LSU on Sunday, and Vic Schaefer benched Rory Harmon for the fourth quarter. And then in the post game, they talked a little bit about that, but then somebody asked about just the rugged SEC schedule, and Vic's response kind of went viral as he said, I think the league has a vendetta against us. We play at LSU and at South Carolina on Thursday night this week. It's the back-to-back games against the 2 elite programs in the league on the road that I think he doesn't like. And then also last year, they played 16 games in the schedule. 15 of them are against teams you haven't played, and then you get one other game against a team that you've played once. And the other game last year was South Carolina, so they got South Carolina twice. This year they got LSU twice. And I, for whatever the reasons are, whether it's to showcase the league and showcase the best teams, or because the league has a vendetta against Texas, whatever it is, Mack, I know you were talking about how scheduling can really get to a coach, why the league does certain things. Do you think there's something behind the reason that the leagues put certain schedules together?
I was told, Bob, that it's TV. They decide what games that people want to watch and when they want to watch them. I know one year we were going to have a really good team, and I look up, and the ACC released the schedule, and the 3 rival games at North Carolina are Duke, Clemson, and NC State. And the last 3 games we played that year were Duke at home, at Clemson, at NC State. And I blew up because I said, that's not fair to our team. That's the 3 most emotional games. We're not strong enough. We don't have enough depth to do that 3 weeks in a row. And they didn't care. They said I was whining. And like this year for Texas, the end of that schedule is really heavy. It's loaded with away games. Middle is not as much. It's more at home. So I don't know how they schedule, but I'm sure TV's involved because you pay so much money now for those TV contracts for the conferences that they would have to be involved. But the answer I got was we have no choice. TV does these things. And I agree with Coach Schaefer. I'm a fan. I like him a lot.
Yeah.
And God, he's done a great job.
Great job.
But to have to play LSU and South Carolina and play them on the road and play them close to each other, TV must have wanted to see them. and I do too. They're great games. It's fun to watch.
Me too.
But I'm amazed at what Coach has been able to do, filling the Moody Center, the excitement he's brought. In fact, both coaches, and that goes back to Chris Del Conte again. I know when DeLoss always fought it with Rick Barnes that we couldn't get people to come to the Irwin Center, and we couldn't get students, and now can't get a seat. It's just it's fun to watch. So
yeah, it's awesome.
I'm proud of both of them.
And I understand his frustration, and again, like Coach just said, I got a lot of respect for Coach Schaefer's, and I brought my daughter and a couple of friends to the game, and brought him on the court after the game. He said hello to my daughter and her friends, and to Coach's point, that this is what is going to. Everybody wants to see the best games, even me. I want to see that, and it's tough. Like Coach said, it is tough, but it has brought into attendance of not only just the people that are going to the game right now. Even my daughter is watching the games now, and
Yep.
I'm starting to watch more women's basketball. It's just what it is, and it's like Coach just said, it's what we want to see. I understand the frustration how they did the schedule, but we want to see that. I like seeing Tennessee. I like seeing South Carolina. I love seeing University of Texas playing these big schools like that and going out there and compete on the high level, because everybody not keeps saying that we're not supposed to be there. To me, I'm like, yes, we do, because we have been winning and doing great stuff for a long time. So to see our women's basketball team, our men's, our softball, our football team, all of them playing on a high level, beating some teams that people think that we will never win, and seeing our ladies number 2 in the country, seeing these numbers behind it is exciting to me to see that, because I'm a huge UT fan, and I know how hard these young ladies and young men compete and work their butt off to be at that position. So I'm happy to see it, but you can definitely understand the frustration from Coach Schaefer's, though.
Yeah, and Bob, the Kirby Smart went off a couple of weeks ago about scheduling, and he went off about how hard these games are. So since the SEC is going to play 9 conference games, every one of those are hard. We saw Kentucky and Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Those were overtime games for Texas and tough physical games. So there's not a game when you go on the road for sure in any of these leagues that's a gimme anymore. Everybody's got money. Everybody can buy some players. There's more parity at the lower levels. And then, so we're going to see, and then you've got a conference championship game. And we said 1 in 9 in the playoffs with conference champions. And then Miami didn't even get in their conference championship game, and they could win the national championship and not even get in the game. And then the champion in the ACC didn't get in the playoffs. Yeah. And then we started to put Miami out. And what if we'd put Notre Dame in instead of Miami?
Right.
I mean, so there's a lot of gray here when we look at it. But Kirby's right. If we're going to play 9 hard games, and then we're going to play a championship game, and then we're going to play playoffs, where do the kids get a break? Where do they get a break? They're worn out. They start now in June getting ready, and then they finish in January 19th. It's a pro schedule. And we're playing 15 games, 16 games instead of we used to play, we played 13. And that was a long season. I think I remember from the end of the Colorado championship game to the bowl game was a month. I mean, we had a long time to prepare for a national championship game. So you've really got to look at what is the worth of a conference championship game anymore. Are we going to keep playing those? We got to look at bye weeks. Sometimes I think depends on how the coach handles it, but sometimes a bye week is harder on the team because he beats them up because they're mad. They got a lot of preparation to do. Do we need bye weeks? If we're going to play those 9 hard conference games, who are the other teams? Then we want to play a national game. Then we want to have Texas, Ohio State, because Vince and I are both, we're all three. We want to see the games. I can't wait for Texas, Ohio State. Well, Sark may say, yeah, I can. I can. What? But we've got to look at scheduling. We've got to look at the players' health. And then we've got to look at what the championship games mean anymore. And then we, as fans, we're going to have to put up with more losses.
Yeah.
If you play tougher games, which Vince just said we all want to see.
We all want to see.
Then you're going to lose more games.
Yeah.
You're going to have more players hurt. You can't have emotion at the highest level. Most teams can't have emotion at the highest level every week. That's one thing Indiana's done. But Indiana's schedule wasn't as tough as a lot of people. So that's where our minds are going to have to reset to more of a pro concept and see that I said an 8-5 team is going to end up playing in a playoff one of these days. It's coming because everybody's playing better teams.
Yes.
Well, I think probably more difficult than playing a football game and then playing the next week against a tough team is making a pick on underdog and then following it up with another really good pick on underdog, right? I mean, it's got to be just as tough.
I just won, so I'm good.
Yeah, right.
I'm good.
You're feeling good right
I
now.
am. In fact, I was so proud. You all, I think I danced in my living room. I wish you were there to see it. And I really was disappointed that none of you text me. I always text me when I'm losing. But when I won, and it was a dominant win, it wasn't a 1 yard, 2 yard like some of your all's wins.
Right.
I got nothing. You all went silent. It was really disappointing.
I think we were all
we
were all celebrating in our own way for you.
No, my team was so disappointed you couldn't pick on me this week.
We'll tell you who Mack Brown picked last week and get into our underdogs of the week, Mack Brown's favorite segment every week. That's coming up next. This is the Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns. Back after this.
The football playoffs are here, and Underdog is the best place to get in on all the gridiron action.
Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like rushing yards, receptions, touchdowns, and more. Get your picks right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash.
This week on Underdog, I'm going to the national championship game, Indiana and Miami, and let's go with some wideouts. I'm going to start with Miami wideout, Malachi Toney. I think he'll go higher than 61.5 yards receiving. And on the flip side, let's go to Indiana. I think Elijah Surratt's going to have higher than 52.5 yards receiving as well. So what are you waiting for? Download the app today and use promo code STAMPEDE to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. Again, that's promo code STAMPEDE. Underdog, make picks, win money. Must be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 or older in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. From Longhorns to startups, Branded Bills has you covered. Whether you're repping burnt orange pride or building a brand of your own, nothing tells your story like a custom hat. Branded Bills is a proud sponsor of Texas Athletics with licensed Longhorn headwear that holds up from the tailgate to the stadium and through the celebration.
Bob, don't forget the sidelines and the golf course, too.
You know it, Coach.
You have to look good to play good.
But Branded Bills doesn't stop there. They specialize in custom headwear that helps teams, companies, and communities showcase who they are with premium fit, finish, and style.
So whether you're a Longhorn fan, a business founder, or just someone who wants to stand out, check out Branded Bills just like mine's.
Explore their officially licensed UT collection or design your own custom hat built just for you. Branded Bills, from Longhorns to startups, licensed pride, custom style. Final segment of the Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns. You know the drill. Find us anywhere on social media at the Stampede UT. You can also watch these podcasts on YouTube or listen to them anywhere you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, or anywhere else. It is time for Mack Brown's favorite segment of the week, the Underdogs of the Week, presented by Underdog Fantasy. Mack, what a week for you. The excitement was palpable. I love that word. After Malachi Toney got it done for you last week. How excited were you?
Well, I was really excited for me. I stood up, I patted myself on the back. I said, you know what? This guy, where has he been in my life? And then I thought I would get some love from both of you. Like I said, I thought I'd get text. I thought I'd get a call. No,
I was
you
dancing.
didn't do anything.
I was dancing in my living room for you.
Yeah, I want a video.
Vince and I were on FaceTime with each other dancing. We're like, let's go, coach.
I want receipts. I want pictures. I want video, because I really did not believe you all were happy that I won. And I dominated.
I was very
It wasn't
happy for you.
close. I was so I sat there with Sally, and I was saying, well, I don't know if I want Miami to win. And then Malachi makes some yards. I said, great job, Malachi. She said, you're confusing me. Why are you pulling for him and want Ole Miss to win? And I said, you wouldn't understand.
Right.
You wouldn't understand.
Well, you had Malachi Toney higher than 60.5 receiving yards, which he accomplished very easily. So you moved to 8-13 on the year. And who's your pick this week as we go into the national championship game, Indiana and Miami?
Well, Coach Royal said you always dance with the one that brung you. So Malachi's my guy. I'm going for him to go higher than 61.5 yards in the national championship game against Indiana.
I think that's a great pick. I really like it. I think that'd be a nice way for you to finish. Go Malachi Toney back-to-back weeks and get one more college pick correct.
And then
Vince,
instead of the overall record, you remember November and December and
Yeah.
January, and you finished strong, and I was undefeated the last 2 weeks.
Yes.
what a springboard that would be into spring ball and into next year. Vince, you had Ole Miss quarterback Trinidad Chambliss to go lower than 259.5 yards passing. He did not do that.
Right.
He went higher than that. So you dropped to 13-7. But boy, what a year for Trinidad. What a year for Ole Miss. Just an incredible semifinal game. Who are you going with this week?
I'm going to go with Indiana. I'm going to go with take coach's guy. But Mendoza not from passing. I'm going to go rushing higher than 18 yards. That's like a gimme. So he's,
Easy when you start saying it's a gimme.
2 take off with the ball, first down, 10-yard route. That's he gonna get that. That's easy.
That's how they
never
get you.
take a game for granted.
Exactly. Well, you
They
got to
do
do
a
what you got
fish
to
hook.
do in the championship game now.
They're reeling you in. They got that fish hook out.
Vince would have gotten that on the first run.
I was just going to say, what do you know about running in a national championship game?
That's what I'm saying.
I think you only went for
You
200,
let everything
right?
on the line right here, baby.
On the
Fernando
Rose
Mendoza
Bowl.
higher than 18.5 yards rushing in the national championship game. Last week I had Noah Whittington, the Oregon running back, going lower than 46.5 yards rushing. He barely played. He got some snaps, so he did go lower. And I moved to 13-7 on the year as well. I'm going to go with Elijah Surratt, the talented wide receiver for Indiana, to go higher than 52.5 yards receiving. I think it's interesting because the last couple of weeks, I basically just relied on this Indiana defense to stop the run. They did. Daniel Hill from Alabama didn't go anywhere. Noah Whittington didn't go anywhere. I don't know that I can trust that Mark Fletcher won't go anywhere. He's been awesome for Miami.
Yes, he has.
His number's 70.5, and I wouldn't be surprised if that got higher because he's been spectacular these last 3 weeks as Miami's gone on this run. So I'm going to go with Elijah Surratt, 55.5 yards receiving. As always, you sign up with promo code Stampede to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. Underdog, make picks, win money. Let's get into the national championship game, guys. Semifinal reaction. Mack, you said you were kind of rooting for a little bit for Ole Miss, but the games ended up the way you thought they would. Why is that? What was it that you thought that would happen that did. Indiana blowing out Oregon and Miami, getting the late win against Ole Miss.
I'm a Charlie Weiss senior fan, and I've watched Charlie Weiss Jr. grow up, and I thought he handled the LSU Ole Miss situation as classy as you possibly could, like the two coordinators did at Oregon. He went back, he stayed, he helped. He's coaching in a rival situation against them, and he only had one coach go back with him. But so I was pulling for Charlie Weiss, very honestly, and those kids, because those kids had overcome so much to get there. And you just keep thinking, is this the wonder year where they just flip a negative situation and take over? Is this Hoosiers? As you start looking at, can't say that, I guess, with Indiana in there now, but I felt like that Miami completely dominated the game. They dominated both lines of scrimmage, but they didn't put them away. And they nearly lost the game simply because when you get a good team on the road, and all these teams are good by now, you get them on the ropes, you better close it out.
Yeah.
And I kept saying, I don't know, man. They're hanging in there, and that little quarterback's good.
Yeah.
You give him a chance. And they made play after play and just kept hanging in there. And then some people said Carson Beck's last play looked a little like Vince's to win the game. I didn't think it looked exactly like Vince running, but it did.
He's not quite as fast.
He's not
Right on the time,
quite
right?
as fast
Yeah.
as he go. But I felt like that Miami hung in there, didn't get frustrated when they could have. So the question to me this week is, both of these teams have good lines of scrimmage. Both of these teams run the ball well. Indiana's run it better than Miami, but Miami's run it better the last 2 weeks. Both have really good quarterbacks that have confidence and played at a high level. Both have really good skill. So the question to me would be that Miami's turned the ball over a lot more, and Miami's had more penalties. Yep. Indiana has gotten everything out of this team that I think they can possibly get. They do everything right. When you're a coach and you sit there and say, we got to do this to win, this to win, this to win, this to win, every week you go in and Miami does that. Indiana does that every week. Miami has been this way. They have played up and down. Now they're playing much better now than they did earlier in the year. The last 5-6 games, we said they've beaten number 7, number 6, number 2. They are playing at a really high level. Yeah. And I do think this is the two best teams in the country. So we talk about the system a lot on the back end. Maybe it didn't work for Notre Dame. Maybe it didn't work for Texas. I think it's worked to get the two best teams to play for the national championship. And that's what the system's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Vince, what were some of your thoughts on those two games?
Yeah, I was shocked too about Ole Miss, not pulling through, because their story would have been really outstanding, because when you have somebody leave you in the middle of the year while we about to go to the playoffs, it says a lot about how you felt about it to me.
Your friend.
my friend.
Your friend on the sideline.
But at the same time, I wanted them to finish the season on a great level, which they still did, but they didn't, finish at the national championship. But I'm happy for Ole Miss, and I'm definitely happy for Trinidad, the quarterback, for being a leader at that quarterback and dealing with all the narrative and all the negative energy that was going on. But he still had his teammates ready to go and ready to play. So I was happy for that. And then Miami, just Miami, a lot of history, knowing Andre Johnson, seeing all the guys that I got good history with Ray Lewis and Ed Reed, to seeing Michael Irvin with the stuff that he's doing, they, trying to get their school and their history back to where it needs to be at. So I'm happy for them guys. So I want to see, and like Coach said, the best two teams that's been playing really hard the last couple of weeks, they got it right. Indiana's been playing really hard, and Miami's been playing. I've been very impressed with Miami's defense. Very impressed with those guys, especially 2 D linemen and the linebackers. They've been playing really well. But you want to see the best team play, so I'm looking forward to this game, and I'm gonna be at home enjoying it. I'm not really going for anyone. I'm actually happy for both teams, but my main thing is, how do you cut out all of the distractions, especially for Miami, you playing at home basically, And it's kind of similar to the USC guys. Like, how do you cut out all of the distractions? People calling for tickets. Even Fernando, I think he's from there as well. It's a lot of distractions. So
His dad played high school ball with Mario Cristobal,
yeah. So
and his mother was on tennis scholarship at the University of Miami,
oh wow.
and they turned him down. So yes,
Yeah.
there's some emotion.
A lot.
Before,
So how do
before we
you
get into
control
that game,
that?
I want to ask y'all real quick. Were you surprised Indiana took down Oregon the way they did? I mean, it was never close.
I wasn't. I wasn't at all. Oregon is a good team to me. They always got great talent. But when you're playing against Oregon, to me is a speed team, right? They always got speed. Even they D linemen are you like they should be playing like free safety, but they playing D line. And I get it, that's their playing style. But when you're going against offensive line, I don't know if y'all have been paying attention to Indiana's offensive line. I don't see one kid on there lower than like 6 foot. They huge. So you got 2 running backs that's small, so you can't find them, and they run hard. It's just sometimes to me like D-line and O-line, right? They set the tone, right? And Indiana has both. Those guys are huge out there, and those guys set the tone. So I thought that they was going to do exactly what they did to Oregon. They was going to just move these little guys out the way and, run the ball like they did and win the game. So to me, like Coach said earlier, Miami has to figure out how to stop that running game because they run the ball really well, and then they hit you with the play action. So you have to be very patient, just like the Texans last night. The Texans never run the ball as much as they ran the ball, and then they did. So that made the defensive coordinator go out of character to play man to try to bring an extra guy in the box to stop the run, and then they run a play action, and then CJ hits you over top of your head with a nice throw. So they going to have to figure that out, how to stop that running game because of the fact they've been running the ball really well against teams like that.
Yeah, Bob, I didn't think the game would be close, but I didn't think it was as bad as it was. I thought it'd be more like it was out in Eugene. I thought it'd be a 30-20, something like that. So I was surprised. But opening up with an interception for a touchdown on the first play, you sit there for a month and start looking at your first play, and then you call it, and it's intercepted for a touchdown. I think Case McCoy's first play against Oregon when we were in the bowl game was an interception for a touchdown. So in the Alamo Bowl. But Vince made a great point about Miami and distractions. Even when we came to the Michigan game, we'd never been to anything like this before in the Rose Bowl, and the hotel was crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
These guys couldn't even get in the hotel without fans being there stopping for pictures and autographs. They couldn't get to their elevators. It was a huge distraction, and you love your fans, and they were excited. So the next year, we took the team and took them to Burbank. We just slipped them out the night before the game. We went to walk through, and then the guys that were going to play went to Burbank. Sally didn't know where we were. I didn't know where we were. The players, we told them to take stuff with them. They didn't even know, and we stayed in a different hotel. There wasn't anybody there. There wasn't a distraction, and it was really a great move on our part just because we had the experience the year before. So I don't know what Miami's going to have with all those fans around. And this is 20 years ago or something.
Correct.
These guys were playing in this game, so they're doing it. The other thing that's interesting to me, the defensive coordinator at Miami was Kirk Cignetti's defensive coordinator at James Madison. It's very interesting.
Very right.
He's watched everything he's done the whole time. Another thing that caught my attention is when you start going back and looking at Wisconsin football, they were really good at running the ball. And I mean really good at running the ball. And when they did, the offensive line coach at Indiana was the offensive line coach that was at Wisconsin. He really knows what he's doing. I tried to hire him, and he's one of the best in the country with fundamentals and toughness and sound. And they don't say much, they don't do much, but they block your rear end off now. And when you start watching those holes open up and how they transition from one to the other, those guys do a great job.
Yes.
And Paul was the head coach at Wisconsin. Then he came down to help Texas some. Paul Christ, that was his offensive line coach, and they ran the ball as well as anybody in the country. And that's what Indiana's doing. It's kind of the old Paul Christ, run the football, be physical, take a deep shot. But that's what they've been able to do.
They run the ball.
All right. So what makes the difference in this game with everything that goes into it? I wouldn't be surprised if there were more Indiana fans in the stadium than Miami fans, quite honestly, after what they did in Atlanta. I mean, that thing was 95-5 Indiana fans to Oregon fans. It's like nothing I've ever seen. And I think they know, like, we've never had this opportunity before. We're gonna do everything we can to get as many fans as we can in that stadium. What do you think it's gonna take for Indiana to win, and what do you think it's gonna take for Miami to win?
Well, I mean, I go again. It's the distraction part of it. You have to figure that out right now. What you're going to do with your team to keep, a lot of this riffraff away, especially with, like Coach is mentioning, like with the social media right now, and the hype is about Miami, Miami, Miami. We going to Miami. We going to Miami. South Beach, South Beach. Your family coming. It's all kind of distraction going on, and then
Gamblers.
you got all kind of stuff going on. So how do you fix that point for both sides of the ball? And then okay, let's figure out this is our moment. Um, Understanding that as a player, uh, we got all this history with the Miami history of the guys that came through and the history of the 30 for 30 game and the stuff we see on TV, and then you got to understand the Indiana story and it's unbelievable story. How do I, you know, use that to a point that I can use it on the football field against, as fire, your messages that you talk to your team. So I just looked at those two things. It's a magical year for both of them, and it's so much history and tradition between of them. And for the Indiana team, like I was saying earlier, for all of those guys to fight to get to where they at today, as well as the coach, the story is unbelievable. And then with Miami, the whole world counted them out, and they fighting their butt off to be where they at right now. So it's a lot going on in that little small circle right there to get everybody on the same page when that kickoff is. And I'll be very impressed to see which one of those teams win and how do they get everybody focused on that level to go out there and have a really good game and finish the game like they want to. That's what I'm looking at, those two things.
Bob, in this game 20 years ago, we had to convince our guys we were good enough to be just us. And I think that's what these two coaches have to do this week. Don't try to be somebody you're not.
Correct.
Just be you. I remember Sonia Richards-Ross. She lost a gold medal, and she pulled up. And then she came back and won a gold medal. She's a friend of ours and even wore the pajamas last week in her honor. Vince did, Aaron's wife. And I asked her what happened, and she said, I got off my routine. I got anxious at first. I couldn't sleep. I didn't eat the same, and I pulled up. I said, so why'd you win a gold after that? She said, I went back to my process. So which one of these teams and coaches will be confident enough to just follow their process? Just be us.
Correct.
Just keep doing what you're doing and go win the game. And will the hype at Miami be too much for those guys? Those guys haven't been in this setting as much as Indiana. Okay. Indiana, this team's been here 2 years in a row. And they messed up last year, but they've still been here 2 years in a row, and they came back, and they've overcome unbelievable odds to be undefeated.
Correct.
So football comes down to running game, which we've talked about. Indiana has the edge. It comes down to turnover ratio. Indiana has the edge. I think there'll be so much hype at Miami. That's going to be a negative for them. And those kids are going to want to do this so much to get back to tradition and it that they may overhype.
Right.
Indiana doesn't seem to have any hype. I mean, they're just like this. So I would think because of running game, because of turnovers, because of penalties, because Indiana's got a lot fewer than Miami, and because of hype in Miami trying to do too much, I would give the advantage to Indiana.
All right, then let me ask you guys this, because I think this will be a great way to end the show. With you guys out in LA, 20 years after Texas, you guys took down USC in the national championship game. When you're in that stage, when you're in that arena that night, do you remember what you were feeling? Like, do you remember throughout the game? Like, Vince, were you just playing football and it was just football? At some point, it just became football? Or was all of the hype around it so much that maybe it even elevated it a little bit more?
Well, for us, we was the underdog, so the hype wasn't around us. It was around the other guys. So
You were watching cartoons.
yeah, we was watching cartoons. I mean, and then coach did a good job. Was like, hey, listen, guys, we're going to this event. Let's be nice. Let's shake hands, but don't. He always said this. Don't forget why we're here. And you know what he meant. You know, he mean like we're here to win this game. And the reason why is that because we didn't have the pressure like USC has. So my job was to understand the message that coach was giving to the leaders to make sure the guys understand why we are here. Okay, yeah, we got to go to this steakhouse tonight with the USC. Be nice, be respectful, do what you got to do, and we're out of here. We're getting out of there, and we did. And then on the other side of it, coach took care of the media. We didn't have to do that. Yeah, and we had John Bianco. We had the right people. Coach Brown took a lot of that pressure, and then John talked to us what we need to say. This is what Coach Brown said. This is what you need to do. So the plan was already there. We just had to make sure we follow by what Coach was saying, and then at practice, prepare and get ready to play. So that made our game a little bit more easy. It wasn't pressure on us at all. And it was just like, go play football that we've been doing since last year and to get to that point. So the job wasn't really hard for us. And we already kind of like Indiana, like we've been here before, other than we won against Michigan, but we've been here before. We've been with our teammates. We had good chemistry. We all understand the message. And it made your job a little bit more easier. So now it's like the pressure is like for coaching them to do their job and what makes them good. And we just had to listen to what coach said and live by the plan. And that's what kind of what happened for us. So it wasn't really a lot of pressure for us. I think it was more so for the other guys, kind of like Miami. You got all this hoopla going on, but how can you get they got to figure out how to like, y'all leave me alone. I got to still play a football game against a really good football team, just like us. We got to, I don't think USC knew that we was that good. I think they respected us, but I don't think they understand how focused and prepared we were to play that game because everybody was against us and the odds was against us. And our story was more and more bigger. It was bigger like USC, but our story was big too because we haven't been to a championship in a long time at Texas, and everybody always hear about Texas football. So we was representing the whole entire state of Texas. Like Coach said at dinner last night, we wasn't only we was representing A&M, the big, Texas Tech. We was representing a lot of people. So our story and our message was huge on that aspect to represent Texas. So.
Yeah, high school football
In
the state of Texas. And Bob, it's a little different. In the Rose Bowl, people were talking about it last night. These are playoff games. So they come in, they practice and play. We had a whole week with SC. We were at the Disneyland with them. We were taking pictures with them. I got a picture of Reggie and Matt and Pete and I and Vince. Vince got his Mickey Mouse gloves on as he's going.
Yep.
And neither one of these coaches have been a head coach in a national championship game. So at 54 years old, I had never been a head coach in a national championship game. Pete Carroll had just won 2 in a row. So I had to figure out what's the message? What do we do? So we don't play well at A&M, still win, but that was the one game we probably didn't play like we should have, and then we kill Colorado. I mean, I'm holding it under 100. It's 70, and I'm saying take a knee. Go for 4th down, but don't make it. I'm telling the officials, run the clock. So then you've got a month, and we go lose the Heisman, which we thought we would win. Very disappointing. One of our players says, SC's no good because he's mad because we lose the Heisman. And I should have been back at the press conference, but Vince and I were flying back. We had a press conference. He said, they're no good. So we had to get to the team and say, okay, number one, they've won 2 national championships. They're 33-3. They're really good. So let's get off that narrative. Number 2, how are we going to approach this? And Bill Little mentioned it. Let's be like the city of Troy. We're going to get in the wooden horse. We're going to slip into L.A. We're going to keep our mouth shut. We're either going to brag on them or say nothing, and then we're going to talk after the game, after we win. But they're really good. Let's don't be foolish. We look really stupid when we say they're not really good. And then the message at the press conferences, Selvin and Vince, so many of these young guys now, when they say, Aren't you sick of hearing about SC and ESPN's hyped ESPN and all the networks have hyped USC so much? Aren't you sick of that? Oh, I hadn't even noticed it. I've been watching cartoons. Totally disarmed the media, but gave USC absolutely nothing. Gave them no fire. And there'll be somebody this week that'll give the other team fire, and probably from Miami more than Indiana, because Indiana doesn't seem to talk.
Right.
I think they got muffles on. They keep their mouths shut when they go through.
And Fernando wouldn't say anything anyway.
No,
so.
and he'd do it with a smile, and he'd do it with ice cream.
Yeah.
Be nice. But here, before the game, you have to sit there and say, okay, what is my role? What do I tell this team? And these two coaches are thinking this right now. What's the message all week? The message all week has been, we're Troy, we're coming in, we're keeping our mouth shut. They're really good, but we're really good too. We're going to be us. So on game day, you're sitting there with pregame talk. You're trying to think, what do you say? And that's why I've mentioned this before. I don't know what to say. Never done this before. It's my job to help these guys get in a mental state in the next 3 hours to play maybe one of the biggest games in Texas football history. Vince said there's no pressure. A lot of pressure. So here we are, and that's when I had the ridiculous thank you, but how many of you like Jerry Springer? How many of you seen Jerry Springer? And they're all looking at me like I'm crazy. And then I said, well, let me tell you, if your girlfriend or wife ever asks you to go on that show, don't go, because it'll be the worst thing you've ever done in your life. And they died laughing. I mean, 2.5 hours before the national championship game, a whole football team was dying laughing. And I said, that's right. That's what we want. We're going to have fun. We're going to be us. And then I see Reggie try too hard and pitch the ball back and lose a possession for them. And our guys just played. And the most amazing thing to me, and Dan Fouts and Vince and I were talking about it last night, when we went down 12 points with 6:49 left to go in the game, Vince got hyped. And we lose our best two defensive backs. He's hyped. He said, we're good, man. Give me a stop. We need a stop. We're going to go score. We got to have a stop. We're going to win this game. So it was like the game started over for him on that sideline with 6:49 down by 12. And so many people would have given up. So many people would have quit. But he didn't quit at Kansas. He didn't quit at Oklahoma State. At Oklahoma State either year when we were down and in trouble at halftime. That's who this team was. That's what President Bush said. I couldn't go to sleep. I woke back up because this team always came back and won. And that's what's got to happen with these two teams this weekend. Who has the best message? Which team can be the best version of who they are and not try to be something bigger? We were good enough. It was obvious we were good enough. Those two teams were probably as equal as you could be. I think I said 96 players played in the NFL off those two teams. That was a dead even game. I saw something on Twitter last night where Matt Leinart was picking out the 5 best plays in college football history, and one of them was Vince scoring, and he said, oh, this makes me throw up. I hate my job, but I got to admit, they were the best team. They had a great team. Vince might be the best ever play, and that's Matt Leinart, who was the Heisman Trophy winner playing against Vince in that game with great respect. So both teams had great respect. Keith Jackson and Dan Fouts had great respect. They'd done our Ohio State game. They had done our Oklahoma game. They'd done the Michigan game the year before. They did the championship game. So we were like their team too. So this weekend, it doesn't get bigger than this next game. Monday night, it doesn't get bigger. This is the biggest game for this year in college football. The one that wins it will be great. And SC's talked about a lot in our game after losing, but it's because they had won 2 years before. The team that loses on Monday night, nobody will talk about it. In fact, in 3 months, we'll be saying, who did that team that won play? And that's the sad part about it. Being the second best team in the country is not near like being the first. And that's the pressure of this game.
Except for you guys. Except everybody knows who you beat. There's no
Yes.
doubt everybody remembers who
No,
you beat
that's true.
because that was, one of the greatest games ever played. I know if you were to give a pregame speech now, you wouldn't use Jerry Springer. You'd use Love is Blind. And
Or divorce.
I know that's your
We're gonna
show,
get divorced
so-
if you don't win. So
Hey, you guys have an absolute blast reminiscing 20 years later out in Pasadena tonight, and go enjoy yourselves. Really take it in and enjoy what that 41-38 meant, not just to you guys, but to the entire Texas fan base. Always appreciate your thoughts, and we look forward to doing it again next week.
And Bob, can we say, Vince and I, to all the fans that came to those 2 games, and really 3 games, we played Alabama with Colt when he got hurt, but all those Texas fans that came to the Rose Bowl, that was 60-70% Texas.
Yeah.
And thank you, folks,
Thank you.
for 20 years ago.
Thank you. Thank you.
Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. Still the greatest college football game anybody's ever seen. And as Texas won the national title, 41-38 on January 4th, 2006. Y'all go enjoy. Great talking to you as always. And that is another edition of The Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns. We look forward to doing this again next week. We've got a great, great show coming next week. We'll get into all the details of that then. For Vince Young and for Mack Brown, I'm Bob Ballou. Thanks for joining us. This is The Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns.